I'm Jimmy Wales, founder of Wikipedia.
Steve Chen, co-founder of YouTube.
Shazam.
Waves.
Lime.
End of the day, you want to learn from the experience. This is not about...
Good morning, everybody. Is there anybody there? Let me try it again. Good morning, everybody. That's a great deal better. The title I've been given this morning is Rebuilding Trust in Uncertain Times. And there are many different ways you could approach this. I could have a lecture on the culture and what's happening in it. I could talk about the future because uncertainty, uncertain times refers to the future. But I'm going to mix it a bit because I want this to be quite a practical session that fits in with the atmosphere and the purpose of our conference. But I'm going to start with a little bit of cultural analysis, which comes from two secular writers. The book, The Suicide of the West by Richard Koch and Chris Smith. Chris Smith was Tony Blair's Secretary of State for Culture and Media. And in this book, they say that there's been a collapse of Western self-confidence that has little to do with enemies and everything to do with seismic shifts in ideas and attitudes. Now, as a secular piece of writing, the interesting thing about it is the way in which they analyze the success of the West up to the point at which they are writing. The success of the West, they write, was due to 6 principal ideas. Number 1, Christianity. 2, optimism. 3, science. Economic growth, liberalism, and individualism. And they go on to say that these have suffered a century of sustained attack. And now, where cynicism, pessimism, and carelessness abound, a drift towards collective suicide is evident. And people commit suicide individually when they no longer have anything in which they can trust. So that is their analysis as secular writers, and it's quite fascinating to see how they analyze Christianity, which is their number 1 cause of the success in the West. They say that Christianity comprised 1 overarching belief and 4 practical action implications. The overarching belief was that God became man, lived, suffered, died, and rejoined the divine realm. This wonderful news, according to them, moved humankind and God together. And then that is followed by 4 action implications. What was the result of this central message? Firstly, a massive elevation of individual personal development and responsibility. Secondly, the power behind self-improvement, the startling implication that all believers could tap directly into God's love. It's very interesting when people from the outside look at Christianity and try to work out why it is so effective. And that's certainly one of the evidences. Then they say, and even become part of God, which of course is a slight misunderstanding of the central doctrine of Christianity that you were discussing just a few minutes ago, that human beings, by trusting Christ, can be born again and receive the life of God. They don't, in that sense, become part of God. They become God's children.
I'm waiting for the game to upload.
And then an unprecedented commitment, they noticed, to the poor, the dispossessed, and the outsiders. And finally, a burning sense that conversion to Christianity made the difference between eternal happiness and, as they put it, eternal torture, although they said that they were quite unhappy with that latter phrase. But their conclusion from that is that hence Christianity became the first and most successful missionary religion.
You can sell this $5 spatula on Amazon and compete with hundreds of other spatula sellers, or you can sell digital products on Amazon and compete with almost no one. You see, I use a brand new Amazon platform that's banned the sale of physical products. Yet without me buying or shifting inventory or storing anything, Amazon's still paying me over $40K a month. You see, everything I sell is 100% digital, so the products live on my computer or laptop.
And the crazy part is, I didn't create this system. Carla taught me this. Carla, why don't you tell them more about it?
Hey, what's
I'm
up,
going to show you a
Nemo?
way to
How you
potentially
doing?
make money by pairing Amazon with the power of AI
Thanks.
without
Appreciate
ever selling
you.
physical products. And I promise you've never heard about this before. I just created some simple digital products. Then I put them up on Amazon, and it was so exciting. The first time I tried it, I made $14, and I was like, oh my goodness, this actually works. Hi, I'm Carla Marie, and the coolest part is Amazon puts over 300 million customers just a click away. So age, experience, qualifications, none of it matters. I want to share my full system with you, but
And that analysis by able secular writers should cause us to think and encourage us, because if other people can see that, then the challenge to you and to me is, how can we present this message so that people observe these things? But they go on and they expand on the overarching belief, as they call it, that God became man.
Hey, what up, fam?
As a
Thanks
result,
for the
the whole
follow.
course of human history and the potential fate of everyone on earth shifted immeasurably for the better. The Logos became flesh and dwelt among us, revealing God's infinite love for
Thank you,
human
thank you.
beings. Because of this single event, the eternal became historical, the divine became personal, and individual lives, even those of quite unexceptional ordinary folk, became supremely important. All men and women could access the Spirit, the divine nature. The Spirit of God could dwell within them. And that is a very striking feature of Christianity. And really, it's the way in which we should evaluate any worldview. What value does this worldview give to the human person? And Christianity is utterly unique, especially in the fact that it gives a double valuation to human beings. The first is that every human being, whatever they believe, is made in the image of God. Perhaps we don't think of that often enough. The heavens show God's glory, but they weren't made in his image. You were, which implies that you are more important than a galaxy. You, as a human being, are made in God's image. Now, this is not the place to begin to tease that out, but it is hugely important. Watching Jordan Peterson give lectures on Genesis, he came to this statement where human beings were made in the image of God, and he paused and he said, man, he said, that's the foundation of Western civilization. That's where all our values come from, and we neglect it at our peril. And that's a marvelous fixed point around which to orientate the explanatory power of the biblical worldview. But there's a second valuation, and that is the fact that Christ died for us. And the argument of
Amen.
John's Gospel that Jesus is God culminates in the fact that this one, the man who is God, gave his life for each one of us. And that sense of value is something that we cannot measure. And when I encounter a new worldview, which of course is rare these days, I've lived too long, I always ask this question: what is the value of a human being in your culture or your worldview? It's a very important point to be able to put to people. And the ideas, as Smith and Koch understood them, promoted personal responsibility, using Christ's power to change, helping the underdog, and saving the lost.
Oh, what up?
Here's
Thanks,
what nobody's
man.
telling you about the new Bearskin
88
fleece. This fleece is thick.
VV.
It's made from 340 GSM of
Thank you
Bearskin
for the
fleece, which
follow.
is super warm, wind blocking, and regulates body heat like a bee.
But what has gone wrong? That's the next problem. You see, according to, again, Smith and Koch, they said because the West took science and rational investigation further than any other civilization, inspired, by the way, largely by a Christian desire to celebrate and understand God's creation, it was the first to move towards a secular society. This is high irony indeed, that the very investigation of the world, based on the belief that it was God's creation, could so be twisted and distorted into turning our society as it is now into a largely secular society. Now, how did that happen? Now, here's a brief history of it, a very brief history of it, as it is often put to us. First of all, Copernicus moved the Earth from the center of creation, and then through advances in celestial mechanics, Newton in the 17th century reduced, in the opinion of some, not Newton's opinion, God to a kind of celestial deistic clockmaker. And then Darwin removed the special status of humans as made in the image of God and demoted them in the eyes of many people to animals made by unguided natural processes. And in a sense, Nietzsche then completed the process by announcing the death of God. So science had finally demoted and banished and even buried God. And it was from there that I got the title for my first book, arguing that science had not buried God. My book is called God's Undertaker. So that's the perspective, very roughly speaking. It has to be nuanced a great deal, from the perspective of one of the major players. But there are more major players than one. There is culture, political and cultural change. Now, Melanie Phillips, whom I know, is a Jewish commentator and a columnist for the London Times, who's always well worth reading. And she says in her book, Turning the World Upside Down, The Global Battle Over God, Truth and Politics. Here's what she says. The principal characteristic of Western modernity is freedom of thought and expression and the ability to express dissent. The 18th century Enlightenment ushered in the modern age by breaking the power of the church to control the terms of the debate and punish heresy. Church and state were separated, and a space was created for individual freedom and the toleration of differences, the essence of a liberal society.
Watch what magnesium does to your bowels.
Why does Grandma's tummy look pregnant? This blocks your bowels. This blocks your bowels. And this blocks your bowels. Here's why.
This is the quickest way to clear out stuck poop.
32 years as a literal poop surgeon, and people still don't believe me when I tell them this. Even if you poop every day, you could have up to 15 pounds of poop stuck inside of you right now. And the reason why is simple. Take a look at this female colon. It's about 4 inches longer than a man's, so it can take up to 14 hours longer for undigested food to move through a woman's gut. This creates the perfect storm for constipation, because slow digestion means food just sits there, rotting away. So this undigested food is literally fermenting inside your belly, causing intolerable bloating and gas. The problems don't stop there, though. Slow digestion also dries out the poop inside your colon, hardening it into a literal cork that's blocking the only exit. Unfortunately, this is when my well-meaning colleagues would normally recommend things like more fiber, more water, more laxatives. Meanwhile, your belly keeps swelling. The pain gets worse.
Sounds great, yet, C goes on, the French Revolution and the terror unleashed by it presented the inescapable evidence that the Enlightenment, far from consigning murderous obscurantism to the dustbin of history, contained powerful strands from the start, interesting point, that would merely secularize tyranny. Now, with communism and fascism both defeated, the West has fallen victim to a third variation on the theme of totalitarianism. Not religious or political this time,
yeah,
but
we'll play
culture. So what is
cultural just play solo,
totalitarianism? It's rule by the subjective individual freed from all external authority and constraints. Medieval Christianity, she writes, like contemporary Islamism, stamped out dissent by killing or conversion. Western liberals do it by social and professional ostracism and legal discrimination, which I suspect some of you have already experienced. And the Grand Inquisitors are to be found within the intelligentsia, in the universities, in the media, and in the law. And that brings us right to the modern climate of uncertainty. As the poet Robert Browning said, we have moved from an age of faith diversified by doubt to an age of doubt diversified by faith. I'll say that again. We have moved from an age of faith diversified by doubt to an age of doubt diversified by faith. All attempts to include reference to God or even the vast and far-reaching Christian heritage of Europe in the EU Constitution were rejected in spite of the objection of quite a few countries when it was being set up. And the EU is now left with a constitution from which the word God is entirely absent. A situation, I am very sad to say, was strongly supported by this country. As a result, Christianity is being marginalized, and atheism is becoming the preferred belief system for many people in Europe.
This is a camera lucida, and throughout the 19th century, it was an indispensable drawing aid for artists and technical illustrators alike, and yet it's virtually unknown today. A camera lucida allows you to trace what you see. Technically, it superimposes a virtual image of your subject onto your paper, so you can see both your hand and your subject at the same time. This works for landscapes, figure drawing, and even copying other images. It radically transforms how you see and how you draw. So you might ask, where can I get one? Well, a portable camera lucida hasn't been manufactured in generations. An original camera lucida on eBay will run you from $300 to $500. At that price, it's a collectible or an antique, not an everyday tool. In 2013, I brought it back with authentic optics in a lightweight portable construction and at a price that more people could afford. Hi, I'm Pablo Garcia, and I'm a professor at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. In the year 2000, artist David Hockney proposed the ideas in this book, Secret Knowledge, Rediscovering the Lost Techniques of the Old Masters. In it, Hockney and co-author Charles Falco present compelling evidence that the old masters used various optical devices like the camera obscura, concave mirrors, and the camera lucida to help create their masterpieces. And by the way, some people really hated this book. They want to believe that the old masters somehow had superhuman drawing abilities, and they think that Hockney suggested that the old masters were somehow cheating by using optical drawing aids. But it's really the opposite. Many of us think it shows that the old masters were even more amazing because they made it their business to engage with the most cutting-edge technologies of their day, optics. After first reading about Hockney's argument, I bought an antique camera lucida and started drawing. One day, I showed the camera lucida to fellow professor and artist, and he was floored. Even though he was admittedly rusty, he was able to draw a quick likeness.
Hey, how are
This
you?
is
I'm
what
good,
the
I'm
camera
good.
lucid is
What's
all
going
about.
on?
Perspective, composition, and foreshortening
Marwa.
are easier when your live subject is...
Hence,
you up
of
to?
course, the uncertainty, because we've lost the central anchors, the pivots on which life, morality, faith in God turned for centuries. And we're now out alone in the void. But the situation, as I see it, is even more complicated than that. Douglas Murray, in a book that excoriates the current woke mentality particularly, and analyzes with a very clear eye the situation that you and I are now encountering in the West, he describes, and his main point really is, how the West is tearing itself apart in a way that no other great power or culture is doing to itself, with the result that the West is permeated by uncertainty and is leaving itself highly vulnerable. The West is currently assailed by its own academics. Some of them are living pretty near to this building, teaching that its own history is one of unmitigated oppression, for which it must repent. Oppression that was aided by religion, Christianity in particular. And he goes on to say, the critics of Western civilization venerate every culture so long as it's not Western. I think that's well worth thinking hard about. Let me say it again. The critics of Western
Kappa,
civilization
what's up?
from inside the
Thanks
West
for the love. Thanks for the follow.
venerate every culture so
All right,
long
I
as
got
it's
you,
not
I got you.
Western. And he adds, in spite of all the unimaginable abuses perpetrated in our own time, at this moment by the Communist Party of China, particularly in Xinjiang, I'm adding that, almost nobody speaks of China with an iota of the rage and disgust poured out daily against the West from inside the West. Now that, to my mind, is a very perceptive thing. We live in a part of the world that's tearing itself apart. And we're called to be salt and light, to reverse this trend. And one of the major purposes of our gathering together here in Oxford is to do that, and to inspire you and all of us to get involved in the discussion.
Just 10 years ago, Jesus was the best kept secret in the Jewish community. Back then, it was difficult to find anyone who was open to hearing the gospel. But today, our gospel videos in Hebrew alone have had over 50 million views. I'm sure you'll be surprised to know that Yeshua is the most searched for religious figure on Google. Israelis are hungrier and more open to the gospel.
Now, Douglas Murray hastens to add this. There's no doubt that terrible things have been done by religion, but two things regularly get suppressed. Firstly, that these academics have the freedom to write what they write because they have often been educated by an education system that owes its existence and freedoms to the Christian worldview. Now that's crucially important. And they ignore, suppress the fact, historically, that atheism, especially in the 20th century, has been responsible for much more violence or death than Christianity. If you want to read an expanded treatise on the effect of atheism, it's well worthwhile having a look at the Black Book of Communism. And yet, ignoring these facts, there are powerful voices still following in the wake of the new atheists like Richard Dawkins, attempting to marginalize any public profession of religion, especially Christianity. And that's coming strongly from in the West. They do it in the name of science, aided by the Humanist Manifesto, which insists that religion must not have any impact on society as a whole, politics, economics, education, morality, or any other aspect of public life. So the implication is you must not do God in public. You keep quiet. If you want to believe in God, do it quietly, please, in private, but don't do it in public. But it also leads to the totally erroneous idea that religion, specifically Christianity, has nothing to do with facts, only with opinions, and therefore must be actively opposed as an irrational illusion, if not a delusion. And hence we get books like The God Delusion. And I've always thought it interesting the way Dawkins talks about his own book. I quote, "If this book works as I intend, religious readers who open it will be atheists when they put it down." Well, I read it and I haven't become an atheist. And many people have read it and it's strengthened their Christian faith because the argumentation in it is utterly dismal, but that's another thing. He joined astrophysicist Lawrence Krauss, who was in the ASU, recommending this way of dealing with Christians, mockery and ridicule, saying that we should not treat religions with respect that they ask for. And they get away with it. It is not a pleasant thing to be on the end of that ridicule, particularly if you're a young person in college or at school. And I'm delighted that there are some young people, quite young, very young people at our conference, because some of them have a very rough time indeed because of the influence of this kind of thinking. However, I'm glad to say there is pushback against this at a high level. Just a few days ago, I was delighted to watch Ayaan Hirsi Ali, which is a complex name because it's a Somali name, but she's actually Lady Ferguson because she married Sir Neil Ferguson, who's a world-class, brilliant historian. She grew up a Muslim in Somalia, fled as a refugee to Holland, where she entered their education system, and did so well she ended up an MP, a Dutch member of Parliament. She then joined the Atheist Band and became a great friend of Richard Dawkins and all the others. And for quite a while, she was merciless in her criticism of Christianity. But then, in November last year, she became a Christian believer. Now, the debate between her and Dawkins, which is quite recent on the internet, is very interesting to watch, because Dawkins starts by saying to her, "You're not really a Christian, are you?" You see. But by the time she finishes, he says, "You are a Christian," and it's all rubbish. And it was wonderful to watch this new, very bright Christian pushing back and telling him straight, your atheism has absolutely nothing to offer. But he said, you don't really believe this stuff about the resurrection and so on. And she just very quietly said, I choose to believe that it's true.
Why is Amazon paying me $63,000 a month? Well, I didn't make this kind of money selling yoga mats and toasters, and I damn sure wasn't talking my friends into buying vitamins and juices. I did it with a free app that's probably already on your phone, and that app is the Kindle app.
And the crazy part is, I didn't create this system. Carla taught me this. Carla, why don't you tell them more about it?
I'm going to show you a way to potentially make money by pairing Amazon with the power of AI without ever selling physical products. And I promise you've never heard about this before. I just created some simple digital products, then I put them up on Amazon, and it was so exciting. The first time I tried it, I made $14, and I was like, oh my goodness, this actually works. Hi, I'm Carla Marie, and the coolest part is Amazon puts over 300 million customers just a click away. So age, experience, qualifications, none of it matters. I want to share.
And it's wonderful to see that kind of thing happening. Now, I debated the late Christopher Hitchens a couple of times, and it was very interesting meeting him. I was able to talk with him in private, but in public, of course, he went for the jugular, but my jugular is still there, I think. He didn't affect it, but he is a brother who lives in Oxford here. And Peter Hitchens, who is his brother, is a journalist. And he started off being an atheist like Christopher, but he's written a book called Rage Against God. So this is Peter Hitchens saying this. He warns that societies in history which sought to eradicate God from the lives of their people in the name of reason, science, and liberty succeeded only too well in showing that good societies need God to survive. And when you have murdered him, starved him, silenced him, denied him to the children, and erased his festivals and his memory, you have a gap which cannot indefinitely be filled by any human nor anything made by human hands. Must we discover this over again, he says. I fear so. A new and intolerant utopianism seeks to drive out the remaining traces of Christianity. And he says the rage against God is loose and is preparing to strip the remaining altars when it is strong enough to do so. So that is a very brief kind of cultural analysis, but it was predicted a long time ago by that very interesting missiologist Leslie Newbigin. Again, someone very well worth reading because of his penetrative insight into what secularism would do. He wrote, England is a pagan society, and the development of a truly missionary encounter with this very tough form of paganism is the greatest intellectual and practical task facing the church. He wrote that in 1985, that's nearly 40 years ago. And that idea that we're now culturally pagan is fascinating. And I think I mentioned last night that in Californian schools, children are encouraged to make prayers to Aztec gods who, a little bit of research will show you, demanded human sacrifice. We become a pagan country. So the West now is at the mercy of paralyzing political correctness, masquerading as tolerance. Tolerance now means affirmation. You are not permitted to say that one view is better than another, only different. So Christianity is not allowed to make any claim to universality, although atheism does. So what are we going to do about it? Because the Western secularism regards the claims of Christ as uniquely fundamentalist, and that's the new deadly sin. Christianity is specific. It is a supernatural religion, and it's historically specific. But interestingly, the new atheist movement, which is virtually dead, because the atheists were very vocal about their faith in atheism, and don't make any mistake about it, atheism is a belief system. It is a faith. That has actually inspired many Christians to be more active. Now, why should we not despair? Well, in one sense, because we're right back where Christianity began. And Christianity began, I think you will agree with me, with fewer people than are in this room. So there's actually hope for what we can do by the power of God. And when Paul and his team arrived in Europe, there weren't any Christians. by definition. Only lots of different beliefs, including atheism and relativism, the Roman imperial cult, and all that kind of thing. But those early Christians believed that the truth that they had received could change the world, and it eventually did. So, speaking as a Christian believer, what I want to encourage you to do, particularly as a result of our time this week, is to get involved in the debate. Now, Paul several times writes about shame, and that's one of the problems, or a couple of problems, that we get nervous in public, and we all do, by the way. I don't know anybody who doesn't, any Christian, who doesn't at one time or another feel the pressure from outside and feel the pressure to shut up and say nothing. But Paul was opposed, and he had confidence in the gospel in spite of the opposition. Why did he have that confidence? Well, because the gospel is not simply a message, it is a power. It is the power of God unto salvation. We need to rediscover it as Tom Holland did. Now, Tom Holland is a very interesting person. He is a brilliant historian, brought up on ancient Greek and Roman history. And exploring Greek and Roman history, he thought for a long time that the values we cherish in the West all came from Greece and Rome. But then he discovered that he was wrong. And he discovered, first of all, the New Testament. Listen to his verdict on the New Testament. Compacted into this very, very small amount of writing is almost everything that explains the modern world and the way the West has then moved on to shape concepts like international law and human rights. Ultimately, they don't go back to Greek philosophers or Roman imperialism. They go back to Paul. His letters, I think, along with the four Gospels, are the most influential, the most impactful, the most revolutionary writings that have emerged from the ancient world. That's a pretty strong statement from someone who's moving from atheism towards Christianity. But what's the heart of those writings? It's the cross. Listen to him talk about it.
This is heavy. It's warm. Loads of pockets. I'm impressed with it. This is the Bearskin.
Bearskin
Tactical hoodie.
Thousands of men around the world already love wearing the Bearskin hoodie instead of their regular hoodies. Why? Because sure, your average hoodie provides decent insulation to keep you warm. But as soon as you go outside, the wind blows, the rain pours, and you get cold. That's why we designed the new and improved Bearskin Hoodie 4.0 with improved windsolation technology on the waist, arms, and hood. Plus, now you can attach the new heavy storm rain jacket to the inside of the hoodie for an instant waterproof layer that blocks rain double time. Finally, a functional hoodie you can actually take outside.
You're seeing this video because we want to offer you 60% off the Bearskin 4.0 with free delivery. And you may not see this video again, so click below to reserve your order. Or you can go to ihatelayers.com to claim your discount.
Just like you, we hate carrying man bags, duffel bags, or messenger bags just to keep our valuables safe and dry. Because hey, you're not a messenger, you're a man. That's why this is the world's only 3-in-1 waterproof tactical hoodie with 10 pockets and adjustable windsolation technology. With fully adjustable toggles on the waist, arms, and hood, there's just no way for the rain or wind to get inside. Need more storage? Get 5 secure zip pockets on the outside, 2 zip pockets on the inside, and 3 fleece-lined drop pockets on the inside for your valuables. So, does the Bearskin hoodie actually look good on a day-to-day basis? No, it looks fantastic. This is a hoodie you can take out in the wild, wear at home or in the office, or while climbing up a glacier on your hands and knees. With a fully adjustable design, you'll get the perfect square profile that's never too bulky or baggy, with a customized fit that's tailored to you. And that's why everybody knows guys look better in a bearskin. You see that material? It's called bearskin microfleece. That's because it's made from real polar bears. Not really, though. But it's made with extra thick double-brushed microfleece that's perfect for cold or snowy conditions. And now that you can attach the heavy storm rain jacket, you can block the rain when you head outside and pack it away.
To be a Christian is to believe that God became man and suffered a death as terrible as any mortal has ever suffered. That is why the cross, that ancient implement of torture, remains what it has always been, the fitting symbol of the Christian revolution. It is the audacity of it, the audacity of finding in a twisted and defeated corpse the glory of the creator of the universe. That serves to explain more surely than anything else the sheer strangeness of Christianity and of the civilization to which it gave birth. Today, the power of that strangeness remains as alive as it has ever been. Now, I imagine that there are people here, and it's for that reason you came, that you have some trepidation about talking about God in public. And we want to help each other in a practical sense. So I want to conclude by looking at what we're asked to do as Christians. And there'll be many sessions on panning this out. But Paul told us why he was not ashamed. And I have
Hey,
already
bro.
quoted
Thank
him.
you, GMC.
Peter also told us
For sure,
in a
I've
little
got
more
you.
detail. And the context of these statements is fear. Peter was the one disciple who got afraid. You remember that? And he denied the Lord, and every Christian who's ever existed since then knows that Peter was scared. That's quite a reputation to have. I bet many of you don't want other people to know that you're scared. But we're all scared at some level or other. So here's Peter writing to people who were getting very scared because of external oppression. And here's what he writes. He doesn't say, have no fear of them and keep your head down. What he says is, don't be troubled, but in your hearts honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you. Yet do it with gentleness and respect, having a good conscience, so that when you are slandered, not if, when you are slandered, those who revile your good behavior in Christ may be put to shame.
This Black Friday gift cleans your retainer at the touch of a button. No more brushing or tablets. Over 4 years ago, our team of engineers knew there had to be a quicker, easier, and more effective way to deep clean oral appliances. After scouring through the research, they discovered the hidden crisis. With the worldwide rise of oral appliance usage, unhygienic appliances had become an epidemic, with acid-producing bacteria eroding enamel and damaging teeth over time, causing serious harm to your oral health. Outdated cleaning methods have dominated our routines for far too long, compromising on either scrubbing power or proper sterilization. They're also manual, messy, and mundane. The latest studies show brushing is ineffective at the microscopic level, and those tablets leave behind bacterial biofilms, both fueling the dental disaster. So after 2 years of engineering in London, leveraging ultrasonic technology from the clinical dentistry field, we developed the first retainer cleaning machine, effortlessly deep cleaning your retainer, aligner, guard, or other oral appliance at the touch of a button. Just add water and the ultrasonic scrubbing action gets to work, leaving you with a crystal clear and hygienically clean oral appliance. For the truest test, in our controlled trials, we took patients' brushed retainers, placing them in the dental pod versus popular tablet brands. At the touch of a button, the dental pod restored the retainers to new, whilst the messy tablet retainers were still biofilm ridden. It was this irrefutable evidence coupled with its sleek design that led thousands of dentists to recommend the dental pod to their patients. And after garnering countless testimonials and reviews, the dental pod was voted the must-have product of the year by dentists, sparking a retainer cleaning revolution. Our mission is taking over, giving everyone access to the best professional-grade dental technology in their own home and helping helping dentists worldwide reverse the retainer tooth decay crisis by enabling a safe oral appliance journey for all. Click this exclusive link for access to their biggest Black Friday sale. Limited quantity available.
I had no experience in sales, but in 4 months I've become vice president of sales of this company. I take a class, and this class is wild. It teaches you how to tap into intuition and develop waking psychic ability, which means you have this voice inside you guiding you what to do.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it sounds crazy.
I took some of mind control.
A lot of people
in the
did.
70s.
Wayne Dyer did it.
Yeah.
Apparently Deepak Chopra did it.
Right.
Okay, so I take this class, and already in the class, I'm getting these flashes of insight, of intuition. But now I go back to my job in Silicon Valley, and so this is 2004.
Right.
We're using the yellow pages. So I'm given a list of names.
Now, this is a text that's very familiar to many people for very good reason. But I just want you to pick up a number of points which will be expanded later in our summer school. First of all, the secret of witnessing to Christ is not how much or how many books on apologetics we have read, although they're very useful, and there are plenty of them here. It's honoring Christ in our Lord as holy, which means, translating it into modern English, is setting him apart in the chief position as our Lord. Our most sacred value is Christ. So don't have fear of the opposition, but have that other kind of fear, which is reverence, that holds Christ as holy as our supreme value. That's what I need to concentrate on doing when the pressure arises. But then I'm always to be prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks me. Now, if the main antidote to fear resides in my attitude to the Lord, then the second thing is that this text is not talking about preaching. Obviously not. It's talking about a situation in which someone asks you a question. And that's usually not preaching, is it? That is conversation normally. And that is a very interesting thing. And I remember being struck by that many, many years ago, because I thought in my cheek those days, and unwisdom and immaturity, that I could answer lots of questions, but nobody was asking me. I mean, when was the last time anybody asked you for a reason about the hope that is within you? And I remember sharing this with a younger person when I was a student at Cambridge, and he laughed. I was embarrassed by that. He was a very good evangelist. He said, "Have you ever asked them?" I said, "No." "Well, why not?" "Well," I said, "they don't have any hope." He said, "Just try asking them." So the next time I was traveling down to London on the train, I noticed the man next to me was reading a scientific journal. So I took out my Testament and started reading it, but held it so that he could see it, you see. So after a while, he looked over to me, and I asked him, was he a scientist? "Yes." "What are you?" "Oh," I said, "I'm studying maths." And that's all I said. But he kept looking at this Testament, you see. And he said, "Excuse me, you said you were a maths student. You're reading the New Testament." I said, "That's right," and I went on reading. And of course, it got to him, and he in the end, he turned round and he said, "Look, I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but why are you reading the New Testament?" And then I remembered my friend. And I said to this man, "Tell me," I said, "we're nearly in London. Let me, if you don't mind, asking you a direct question. Have you any hope?" And he went as white as a sheet. And then he blurted out, "Well, we'll all just muddle through." I said, "You know I didn't mean that. Have you any personal hope?" He said, "None whatsoever." Well, I said, "That's why I'm reading the New Testament. It gives me a personal hope." So we had a 5-minute conversation, and I gave him the New Testament. By the way, when was the last time you gave someone a piece of the Word of God? I mean, we believe it is the Word of God, don't we? And here's where things can start. It's not hard to do that. So he asked me, have I any hope? And of course, then I told him, because Peter says that I'm to tell him. But you know, that leads to a whole discussion. Now, you're going to be taught in one of the seminars. There's a session on what questions to ask. All I want to do is end on this note, that I learned very early on that the way to get in touch with people was to ask questions, and not complex philosophical questions. Ask them carefully about their life, their friends, their family, all this kind of thing, and get to know them that way. And sooner or later, the conversation will develop, and we might just notice a newspaper headline that they're reading, and it may be about the Ukraine war, and just quietly say, do you have anything that gives you any hope in this kind of situation? And they will more often than not say, no, do you? And there you're on. And I discovered that asking questions is much easier than answering them, but it builds friendship. And the last point I want to make is this. What happens if you can't answer? That's what many of us fear. I don't fear it. Do you know why? Because I can always say, I don't know. I've never heard that question before. Do you know, that question really interests me, and I cannot answer it at the moment. But would you mind if I took a week to think about it? We'll meet next week for coffee. That has a colossal effect that you wouldn't believe. First of all, the person now realizes that Christians aren't claiming to know everything. Secondly, it shows them, if you're sincere, and I hope you are, that you take their question seriously enough to think about an answer to it, and you're interested in them enough to meet them again. So not having an answer can often be the key to a relationship that in the end comes to an answer that satisfies them. So I don't get intimidated by questions, because I could always say, I just don't know.
If you have dementia or are afraid you might have it, you shouldn't drink warm water, and I'll explain why. Hardly anyone knows this, but Alzheimer's and dementia have far less to do with age or genetics than we've been led to believe for years. And here comes the worst part of all. Doesn't matter how many pills you swallow, how many doctors you see, or how much money you throw away on treatments. All of it only masks the symptoms while your brain slowly rots from the inside out day after day. Pay close attention to this, because this is exactly how it starts. First, you forget a simple name, then an important date where you tossed your keys. Soon, those humiliating blackouts appear in the middle of a sentence, and you just freeze, trying to play it off while the shame burns inside, until one day you walk into a room in your own house and completely forget what you went in there to do. Then that's when your family starts to notice, whispering behind your back, do you think he can still live alone? And before you know it, they start making decisions for you, moving you into a nursing home, even though deep down you still feel like everything is fine. Until the day comes when you find yourself alone, abandoned by your own family in that cold place, forgotten by everyone as the crazy old man no one can stand to visit or even remember exists. But thankfully, there's a real way to reverse this. After years of brain research, 97% of participants in clinical trials at Harvard, Yale, and Emory showed significant improvements in cognitive function in just 8 days. And it proved something no one had ever seen before. Memory loss in these patients almost always started in the same place. This little-known formula helps bring memory back, clear the mind, and sharpen thinking, all without risky procedures or prescription drugs. And here's what's truly incredible. Even people in their 80 seconds who had suffered from brain fog for years began remembering names, dates, and old stories again within just a few days. So stop what you're doing right now and tap the Watch Now button. You'll see a free video showing exactly how to use this simple brain ritual to flush out the brain toxin, restore your memory, and think clearly again. No doctor visits, no expensive pills, just a natural solution you can try at home. Thousands are already using this brain cleansing method, and the stories are astonishing. People who used to freeze mid-sentence now remember birthdays, appointments, even childhood memories with perfect clarity, making your own decisions, living life your way, at your pace. So go ahead, tap, watch now, and learn how to use this simple brain ritual tonight to restore your memory, clear your mind, and finally take your life back.
Hija, ¿te acuerdas de la contraseña de Wi-Fi?
I'm basically my family's personal assistant. From keeping my mom connected to the Wi-Fi to making sure she has her weekly phone calls with all her girlfriends. It's become a full-time job, but I've partnered with Verizon to offer you some assistance too. Everyone thinks Verizon's too expensive. I mean, they have America's best 5G network, so that would make sense, right?
Just wanted to let you know we got those gang tote bags that are about erectile dysfunction.
Really?
Yeah, because you're like...
It's like waiting at the DMV, kind of?
Yeah, kind of. But
waiting for some lady to call you? Is that... Yeah, it's the same.
If it's... Maybe it's that's that girl Bonnie Blue. She's like number 49 or whatever.
Not ready.
Yeah, dude, yeah, that'd be crazy. Just give me a couple minutes. No, dude, the lies I would used to have to make up because I had pretty bad erectile dysfunction like in my 20s, and the lies I'd have to make up.
Wait. Without getting too personal, how did you have erectile dysfunction in your 20s?
Dude, I moved in with a guy who...
Okay, mistake number one.
Right, for sure, that didn't help. But that's because he had a script of wiener pills, and so I'd get over there, so I'd nibble off of his wiener pills, and this is when wiener pills were really first popular. When they were first out of the gate, when people, like, you had to get prescription, right? Now you can just do, like, telehealth. Now you can get some Indian guy will just mail you a bag of them, you know? And they have saffron on them, which is sometimes is kind of a lot, but you take what you can get. But dude, I would stay over with him, and he would, and he didn't notice. He would drink a lot, so he didn't notice. Sometimes I would, like, cut one in half or just take one, you know? But so I was living with, like, a 70-year-old dude just to cops part of his wiener pill script because...
So you were a kept man. Viagra kept you there.
Yeah. But dude, that was a crazy. When I think back of the reality of that was bonkers.
Yeah, fair. Even by LA standards, that's pretty far out.
Yeah.
Usually you move in with a sugar daddy for like the cocaine or something, but you're there for the boner pills. But can I ask, how do you think you wound up needing him in the first place at that age?
Just too much mental, too much in my head, you know? Like I would try to be getting a boner or whatever, and my brain would be like, you got a little boner, bitch, or whatever. Like my brain did not like me, you know? So, and we lived together, and so it was like a constant battle. But then I think as I've gotten older and gotten more calm, it's been easier. It's just been more calm.
That's so interesting. So you were like trying to defeat yourself?
Yes, I would be like, or if I couldn't get it started, it was just like, man, you know? And so then you're killing time. You're like, hey, you know, it's like, you want to watch a you know, it's like, let's put on a movie, you know, just like trying to kill time while you're waiting to get a boner. It's very, you know, that's a tough gig. That should be an Olympic sport, I think.
Like the biathlon.
Yeah.
It's weird, but there are a few people in the world really good at it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, biathlon for sure. I don't know boner weighting. Biathlon is the cross country.
Boner weighting.
Right. I don't think it's not actually certified yet. But no, biathlon is the cross country skiing and then shooting.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. That's pretty fun.
Well, it's wild because these guys are just like huffing. You know, imagine being oxygen deprived and then trying to shoot straight or do anything really.
Oh, look, this is the skill we're all going to need probably in a few years if we want to survive. So I think that this is very important.
Totally agree.
But does Alp? So Alp is your brand.
Alp is our brand. We started it because of your show. Because the first and only other time I've ever been here, we were in some other city.
We're in Bellagio. We were in the Bellagio.
In Vegas. Sorry. And I had it, and you said, "What's that?" And I made a joke about how it was a marital aid or something. Not even a funny joke. And then about a week later, I got a letter from the general counsel's office at Philip Morris International, which owns Zyn, and they said, you know, how dare you make unsubstantiated medical claims about our product? And I was like, first of all, I'm shilling your product just to be nice because I like it. And now you're scolding me for making a boner joke, which, by the way, was a compliment.
Yeah, if somebody's zenning and they're suddenly they got that dong going, who cares? You know what I'm saying?
I thought it was funny. I thought it was a compliment, but they were so corporate and nasty with me.
Yeah.
That I decided I'm going to make a competing product, and we did. And then around that time, probably about a week or two later, I asked around. I never really asked anyone about Zen, and I found out that almost every other person using Zen was using it rectally. I literally had no idea.
They were using it what? They were
rectally. Yeah, they use it rectally. Most Zen users use it rectally, and I didn't know that.
What?
Yeah.
Where at? Like Phi Kappas or whatever?
No. Just normal consumers of it. Like, in fact, in a lot of places when you buy it, you get a little tube of, I don't know if you ever bought it, you get a little tube of Vaseline and some surgical gloves. No, I'm serious. And I had no idea. And I was like, in a country of 350 million people, like, there should be a pouch for your mouth.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't all be rectal use. And by the way, I'm not in any way judging at all. I think it's consistent with, like, other parts of their lives. But whatever. I was like, this country needs a dual-use only pouch.
Yeah.
And so we made one.
And so you guys made one.
Yeah, but I didn't know any of that, and I'm like hapless. You know, I'm putting it in my mouth, and occasionally people look at me like on a plane or whatever. I put it in my mouth, and they would give me that look like that's not what you're supposed to do with that. But I didn't even know. I didn't have any reference points for it. But you know, you learn stuff as you age.
Yeah. If you're using that third jaw, I think to catch a nicotine hit, that's pretty wild.
Well, the problem is you can overdo it and you forget. It's hard to keep track of how many are there. You know what I mean? And you can just a lot of things can happen. I've never done it, but I have talked to people who are into it.
It'll build up like a beaver dam back there. I feel like that's crazy. Tucker, good to see you, man. Here we are. We've already discussed erectile dysfunction, which I admitted I had, which is definitely never going to help my dating life. But here we are.
No, I think it makes you more relatable, less threatening. I bet you get a lot of calls after this, actually.
Well, I will say this, though. If you took an erection pill, say you went on a date or something that was going pretty well, and you took part of it, or you nibbled off a little piece, because do not make the mistake of taking a whole one.
What happened?
Dude, I couldn't even hug somebody goodbye. I was just like... You know, like
you're like in 7th grade again.
Oh, dude, yeah. Cabs were stopping. It was like, what do you want? You know. So that wasn't good, dude. Like that was, yeah. You take a whole one, dude. Yeah, people will start hanging their coats on you and stuff. It's really it can be a lot. But yeah, you would just nibble off enough. You started to gauge how much you needed. You'd nibble off.
I feel like you could become dependent on it, though.
Oh, you definitely did. But at a certain point, it like alleviated like the fear of like it alleviated the fear.
Your performance anxiety.
Right.
Yeah.
It kind of like so then after a while you didn't need it all the time. So it kind of
that sounds helpful.
Yeah, it was kind of like training wheels in a way type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, like you use it and then you don't need it. But yeah, dude, that was a weird time, dude. One time I was over there, and so the dude like. We only had one bedroom, so I would just sleep on the couch, right?
Are you sure there's not more to the story?
There's nothing more.
Okay. So an older man moves you into his house and gives you boner pills, but it's totally on the level. Like there was nothing weird at all.
My friend's dad.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay, it's
my
important
friend's dad, and I think he'd like cheated on his wife or something, so he got kicked out.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a place to live. Anyway, I used to go I was learning the guitar at the time, and so. He would have this lady stay over sometimes, and he would have me come in there and play music to him in the dark and shit. And I just learned how to play "Tears in Heaven."
Just to stand back and with no prior knowledge of the story at all, but just to like assess the facts as you've laid them out. You get invited to live with an older man.
Yep.
And a girl.
He was athletic. He played tennis.
Yeah, for sure. Who has a stash of boner pills, and then he invites you into the bedroom with him and the girl to serenade them.
Yes, at night, kind of.
And this never got freaky at all, like not for one second. You're like, that's totally normal.
Yeah, not at all. But it was weird enough.
It's the most LA story ever.
It happened in Louisiana.
Oh, no way. I was thinking you were like Kato Kalin in the guest house.
No. This happened in downtown New Orleans, dude. And I used to borrow his car. It wouldn't turn off. If you turned it off, you couldn't turn it back on. So you had to leave it running all the time, and you had to like put gas into it. So I'd use his car to go to school over there at Loyola, and I would just leave it run. I would just like leave it running all day, dude. Anyway, Tucker
hey,
Carlson,
friend, how are you?
Man.
It's great to see you.
Great to see you. Congrats on Alp. Is it doing well? I remember I went to y'all's party last year.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of neat people there.
Yeah.
Josh Smith was there. I remember. Lexi was there. Mel Gibson was there last year. Did he come?
Yeah.
That was really nice of him. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy, and there are a lot of people. Yeah, no, it's actually done.
Jimmy John was there.
Love Jimmy John Leotote, one of my favorite. Vince Vaughn, all good guys. People who like nicotine. Nicotine's super important. This country's gotten far sadder and less healthy since it was discouraged, and it's coming back. And I think it shows. Like people are just happier. But no, the company's done. So I've never been in business. I've never sold anything. I've only talked for a living. I didn't grow up around business. I know nothing about it. I'm terrible at math. So yeah, it's done really well. So well that I feel a little bit embarrassed. But still, we have a big factory near here, 14 manufacturing lines, and it's cool.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah?
It's actually been the single most amusing and purely fun thing I've ever done. Of course, I have no role in like the business. You would never allow me near a business ever. But I'm super enthusiastic. I help pick the name and the design and the flavors. Like I know a lot about that because I'm a lifelong nicotine user. Over 40 years, I know a lot about nicotine, but I know nothing about business. So I'm not involved in any of that. My college roommate runs it and is, my best friend. So but I hear about it. But basically, yeah, it's been wildly successful because I think people want a pouch that you can put in your mouth. You don't have to put it in your butt. And a lot of people felt like they did. There's just a lot of pressure to do that. And you feel it all around you. Like, oh, no, it's totally cool. All the guys are doing it. And some people are like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, and I don't want to have to go to like a Tiesto or a John Summit or a Levity concert or have to go to like a Widespread Panic concert to get somebody to boof it into my butt
100%.
through a straw or something. It's like, how do you even get help getting it in if you need help?
Well, I think that's part of it. I think for a lot of people, Zen is a group activity. Like it happens, with like friends.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Tears in heaven, like that type of thing.
Totally.
I can't believe that was the song I played, and that's what they made me play, dude. Would you know?
Shut up.
That's the only first.
When you were serenading the boner pill guy and his girlfriend?
Yeah, what do you think I would play? I only knew that and Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Come on.
Those are like two of the beginner songs, man.
Wow.
I was pretty good.
I would think it would be like Brown Eyed Girl or something, older guy.
Oh, definitely. Well, Brown Eyed Girl, definitely if you're using one of those pouches you're talking about, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's like kind of a classic boomer kicked out of the house with his younger girlfriend. Play Brown Eyed Girl. It's kind of
Oh, yeah. I thought Brown Eyed Girl is something dealing with somebody's butt, Hey, where did we go?
Ooh.
Days when the
rains came.
When the rains came.
Down
in
the hollow.
Playing a new
so good.
Playing a new game. You know what I'm saying? So BLM, homie. Tucker Carlson's here, dude. Dude, I just saw you got top 10 podcast, one of the top 10 podcasts in America. Did you see that?
Really? No, I didn't.
Did you see that?
Really?
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know that. No, we have a rule in our office which we've stuck with for like over 30 years now. So wherever I've worked, like no compliments. We don't believe in that. So you don't ever want to work with people who compliment you at all, and you know when it's hitting, and you can feel when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but having people around you are like, oh, we're kicking ass, you're so great.
Yeah.
Like that's the fastest way to rot your soul and just become an asshole. And having spent my life around assholes, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be that. So no, there's never any talk about that, ever.
Well,
but I'm glad to know that. It's better than being in I've certainly been in the bottom many times in my life. You know what I mean? I had ratings that were so bad at one network I worked at that there was some question as to whether, given the margin of error, anyone was watching. Like anyone, any human being was actually watching.
Yeah.
Like Nielsen couldn't tell you really with precision.
Right.
So I've been there.
Dang. Yeah, well, now you're not there anymore. I mean, it is fascinating, especially this year, how quickly people have gone away from cable.
Do you have cable?
I don't even know if I have it.
Right.
I mean, mostly I watch sports, and then I just work a lot.
Totally. And there's just a lot of stuff. Like, you could spend your life texting. How many people do you text with every day?
Oh,
right.
Too much.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you were a top 10, man. So pretty cool. And you also got Anti-Semite of the Year. Or you got?
Did I win?
No, I don't. You also got nominated for Anti-Semite of the Year. Bryce Mitchell is campaigning. It feels like so.
He is. I love Bryce.
I know.
He was there. His son's named Tucker, by the way. I'm proud to say.
His son is so cute too.
He's unbelievable.
Did I see his son at your party last year?
Yes. And his wonderful wife. Yeah. The funny thing is, I'm not even an anti-Semite, and I'm against anti-Semitism.
I agree.
And
How did
I've
that
said
even?
like every day for the last 10 years. I don't think it is immoral to judge people on qualities they can't control that they're born with. I don't think that people are guilty by virtue of their blood. That's why I disagree with the Netanyahu cabinet. They believe the Palestinians are subhuman because they're Palestinian. And that's a attitude that's anti-Christian. I totally reject it. I've criticized them for that specifically. And so I'm completely opposed to anti-Semitism. And I mean it too. And by the way, if I was an anti-Semite at this stage, I'd be like, yeah, I'm an anti-Semite. I love Hitler. I would just say it. Like, why not? I probably have the #1 podcast. I said that. But I'm being totally sincere. I'm opposed to it. So why do they keep calling you that? Me that? And I know one of these guys very well in here. I said I know Bryce, but I know another person on the bottom. I know two of them. I know Anna too. They not only are not anti-Semites, they think anti-Semitism is immoral. So why do they call you something that you're not and that they know you're not? They do it to make you into what they call you. They are trying to make you a hater. And that is like the key insight I've had over the last year. It's like I used to think, like, people would always call me racist. And I would do these like long monologues, like, actually, I'm not a racist. I would say so if I was. I kind of like black people, but it's not even, has nothing to do with whether I like black people
I own
or
a couple
don't.
jerseys or whatever.
I kind of do, but even if I didn't, hating people on the basis of race is immoral. And so I do these like long monologues, and I would stay up and write them, you know, at home, and be like, I'm going to tell the truth. And everyone would be like, shut up, racist. And I'd be like, what is this? They could criticize me for all my real faults, which are super obvious, you know. I think they're very obvious. I get mad. I overstate things. I always gain a shit ton of weight every summer. Like, I have faults that are obvious to everybody, but they never attack me on those. They attack me on the things that I'm not. Why? And this year I finally figured it out. It's like they want to make you into a hater. Why? 2 reasons. 1, to control you. This is like a form of control.
Why? Because then they can label you?
Sure. Then
Right.
you're a Nazi. It's like, you don't need to, first of all, you can kill Nazis, right? So it's obviously to get you killed is part of it. But part of it is much deeper, and it's spiritual, and that is that evil feeds on hate. They want more hate. So, and what's evil? How do we know if something's evil? Well, by its fruits. Is this someone who's lying, angry, promoting violence, chaos, division? That's evil. I mean, that's literally the definition of evil, and good is its opposite. It's unity, peace, happiness, love, order, cleanliness, or whatever. You know, it's the virtues are really obvious, the sins are really obvious. And so evil feeds on hate. They want more hate. So I look at someone like Mark Levin, who was a guy I used to know. You know what? I've never had strong feelings about the guy one way or the other. He's all into Israel. Whatever. I don't care. Be all into Israel. I was never against Israel. I'm still not really that against Israel, but whatever. I watch Mark Levin like go down this path where he's like crazed. He's crazed. It's almost like he's being attacked by bees or something. Like there's no peace in that man at all. And I can't imagine what his, I'm not being mean, I'm being sincere. That guy works tirelessly to make people hate him. Same with Rabbi Buttplug. Same with a bunch of these people you see on the internet where it's like, what is this guy trying to win people over? Just the opposite. He's trying to alienate them. He's trying to make people hate him. Why? Because that's the nature of evil. It feeds on hate. And goodness feeds on love. And if you're around a decent, honest person, you just feel this like warmth and attraction and calm, right? You feel this around?
Yeah, for sure. And I think you have to trust your own guiding light at a certain point.
100 at every point.
Of what is
every point.
Good and what is not.
But you know it. I don't even think, like, we're so past rational argument. I mean, I've proven that by like every week dutifully doing the, actually, I'm against anti-Semitism. I hate anti-Semitism. Shut up, Hitler. Obviously, we're not at a point, sadly, in our history where rational debate makes any difference at all. They don't care.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk dedicated his life to it. They just shot him in the neck. Like, they're not interested. They're not winnable. We're at a stage where the only thing you can trust is God, the love of other people, and your own God-given instincts. Like, that is it. That's the guide, period.
Yeah, I mean, your pilot light of what you have to really lock in with your pilot light of what do you feel like is right and wrong.
Exactly. Don't you think you know it too?
I think at this point you have to trust that more than
You have
ever.
to trust it.
Right.
Exactly. But the knowledge is pre-existent. Like, it's already in you. You know. You're like, your dog doesn't need to be told who hates him. The dog's like, you know, he barks at the people who hate him. He knows, and he doesn't lie to himself.
Yeah.
And do you feel that?
Oh, I think we've been lying to ourselves, or we've been passive about evil showing up in our
Yes,
world, I think.
yes.
I definitely believe that. And some of those things I want to talk about for sure. I mean, I saw this list, and I'm like, well, first of all, Miss Rachel's on it. That's when they lost me. I was like, what are you guys doing? If Miss Rachel has to come out because she was obviously anti the war in Gaza, anti the genocide, and we've spoken up about it. I mean, there's no doubt in my heart and mind that it's a genocide. People can have other thoughts that they want, and that's fine. If you have your thoughts, that's great. I'm glad that you do. It just seems like that is a wrong thing. There was not a lot of question about it for me. Like, I learned about the history of the land, and then I was like, this is just wrong. There's no reason that these children have to be getting killed, that they're experimenting with different weapons and different tactics on this kind of like, basically this imprisoned group over there. And then when I saw this and had Miss Rachel, I was like, what are we doing? Like, would you need Bert and Ernie to come out and say that it's a genocide? Like, at what point do people not trust what they're seeing anymore? I think I'm kind of amazed. That's the part that's made me think sometimes like I'm in this weird blender or aquarium. It's like, should more people speak up? Have not it almost like, why do you feel crazy for speaking up? Like, it just should feel like there's more. But then it's not my place to think that somebody else should feel the same way or should feel okay about sharing stuff. And it gets kind of scary, you know? It definitely gets super scary, you know?
Why?
I think because, you know, I think you don't really know what's going on. I think that's what it is. And if they would just say, hey, America is a country that's owned by Israel, or that it's always been just this outpost, or it's this LLC of Israel, or it's this, or maybe not even of Israel. It could just be of corporate entities. I'm not really sure exactly. But if they would just tell us, then you can operate from a place of knowing what's going on. But for some reason, there's this weird secretiveness about stuff. And when things are secret, it feels evil, because it feels like it's in the dark, right? And then when you see, like, we're watching people dying and kids dying, and it's supposed to feel like it's just in with the next reel and the next trend dance or whatever. It's just, it all becomes confusing. And so those are moments where you do have to lock in, you know, just prayer, asking God, what am I supposed to do? Just trusting, like, the part inside of yourself that you feel like you've developed over time that's honest, I guess, or just trying to trust your heart, you know? I don't know. Does that make any sense even?
Not only does it make sense, it's so beautifully expressed. Yes, it makes perfect sense. And I think a lot of people watch, I'll speak for myself. I've been brooding on this because my whole job is to try and find out what's happening and then explain it. And it's just an endless series of frustrating cul-de-sacs where you're like, why can't we know this, that, the other thing? I mean, whatever the story is. And in the last 2 weeks, I feel like I've gotten closer to understanding what's actually going on. And of course, I could be completely wrong, but I'm not. And it's made me so much happier, because the conclusion, I've sort of let go of a lot of my frustration and fear, because I've realized that we already know exactly what this is. And don't know a lot of the details, you know, could be wrong about this or that, you know, but big picture, we know exactly what's going on. And I think at this point that if all the information on all these different threads, whatever it is, especially the murders, not just the recent murders, but or attempted murders, but the you know, the more historical ones, if all the relevant information came out tomorrow, would we be surprised? No, we wouldn't. We know what's up, actually. And there's enough evidence, but also our instincts tell us just by watching, like, what is this? And I agree with you completely. It's not just about Israel, this country. It's about whether or not self-government actually exists. Like, do any of these countries have a system where the people decide who their leaders are and what the country should do collectively? Not really. Or it's more complex than that. Yes, I think elections are to some extent real and all that, but in the end, the big decisions are made not by nations or kings or presidents or whatever we imagine. They're made by, you know, the world's richest people. And I don't think that's an ethnic group. It's not code language for the Jews. it's what it seems to be. It's the people with the biggest stake in this, who have the most to gain and the most to lose, are never going to leave the big decisions to like 3 zip codes in Pennsylvania. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on, son. Like, you know that's true. And I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not claiming, all elections are totally rigged or whatever. The source code belongs to Maduro. I'm not making any specific claims like that because I don't know if they're true or not. But I know the big picture. If we know that Kennedy was pushing up against some forbidden things, and that's why he was killed. And who killed him? Well, it's too easy to say it was this group or that group or this group. It was all those groups acting in concert, or parts of those groups acting in concert. Of course. That's all of what this is, right? Do you feel that?
I like what you said about if all the pieces came out, would you be that surprised? Like if they laid the cards completely out.
Epstein, for example, the one that everyone's
right. I feel like that whole thing is some sort of I think there's definitely stuff there, but then also it's been such a kickball and a ruse for so long. Yeah. It's like both political parties had a chance to put it out or to get. None of these people are operating on our behalf. That's what it feels like.
Well, that's kind of the truth that I'm talking about. That's what we would want.
That's what's scary.
If
it
all
feels
of this
like
came out.
It feels like, well, so many of us believe and have believed and have forefathers that have spilt their blood and risked their lives, and have friends who are enlisted now to protect this thing.
Hey, what's up, Amelia?
This idea of America.
I'm good. How are you doing?
And then that idea has gotten super blurry in the past few years.
It has.
And especially at a time when I think a lot of people there's a lot of fears with technology in the future and not knowing where we're going to find our sense of purpose, right? That's a big thing that we talk about on this show a lot of our time is where do you find your sense of purpose? And people find it a lot of times in their job, through their family, in their country, through their religion, through their faith. So, some of those start to go away, and some of those even look blurrier for the future, almost like it's like Marty McFly when he looks at that picture and it looks like he doesn't even exist.
Yes.
And so it starts to make you think if more of our purpose disappears and our traditions are challenged by media over the years that they're wrong or they're racist or they're this or they're that, then you kind of end up with just, I don't know, it makes you feel like, well, what do I end up what even is the value of me at a certain point?
I have the answer.
Okay. And I don't also want to sound too dour. I'm also looking at it from that perspective.
You're speaking for millions of people when you say this. Everyone can feel, I think people feel exactly what you're saying.
And I still also feel like a lot of moments of hope of okay, so I focus on my family. I focus on my friends. I focus on doing something nice for someone. I focus on somebody else other than myself.
Exactly.
I do those things that do give you feelings of meaning and purpose, right?
Amen.
So anyway, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but go on.
I think just the opposite. And by the way, I just want to amplify what you just said because that is the answer. And those aren't just feelings of meaning and purpose. That's the definition of meaning and purpose, is to love the people around you, not people you've never met, not abstract concepts, communism, fascism, Zionism, whatever your ideology is. No, it's people. That's what it means to live a meaningful life, is to serve other people. And by other people, I mean people who are physically present, who are connected to you in organic ways, like your relatives, your friends, your coworkers, your roommates, the people God puts in your path. Those are the people you love. Your waitress. That's what it really means to love people. So that's number one, always. Love the people around you. And whenever I run into people I just want to save the world, or I want to come up with a new system to make everyone happy forever, and we're going to call it whatever we're calling it,
ketamine.
AI or ketamine.
Yeah, and that's bailing out, dude. There's people falling asleep at the car wash. They just had a guy. He fell asleep in there.
Yeah, well, those of us who've already been down the drug path are a little skeptical of being saved by drugs.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's also dangerous. Some of those brushes are sharp in there. I fucking fell asleep in that car wash. He was in for 2 cycles. Yeah, they had a sedan that went through, and finally someone in the back seat saw him on the side. That dude was in there getting polished up.
And he was a ketamine casualty.
Yeah, he was ketamined up. He was all K'd out. He was in a K-hole or something.
you're about to discover why they call me the Big Ben.
He loves an entrance.
Watch this.
It's the bad guy! Peacock brings home the most jaw-dropping.
Why is she in his mouth?
Fantastic and ferocious family streaming event of the year.
That's nothing compared to our first date.
Oh my gosh.
It should be known that Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app. The app is really easy to use. To create a player lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few players' stats. That's it.
Oh, yeah, you
Prize
do all
Picks
that?
will give you $50
Wow.
in lineups. When you play your first $5 lineup, win or lose, you'll get $50 in lineups.
I just use
Theo
AI now.
when you download the app and sign up today. And best of all on Prize Picks, on top of picking players now, you can pick teams and even culture events. That's right. You can now pick just the winner of the game on Prize Picks or even the spread and total. Team picks are available in 22 states, and that now includes California and Florida as well. Plus, they've got picks for crypto, politics, and entertainment, all in the Culture Picks section. Player picks, team picks, culture picks, all in one trusted app. Prize Picks. Play responsibly. When I need more Bitcoin, MoonPay is always the first app that I open because it doesn't force you to buy a whole coin, and it's super easy to use. MoonPay is one of the biggest partners on the show, and I'm excited to share that I've made the decision to accept my compensation from them in Bitcoin instead of US dollars. I'm planning to hold and save that Bitcoin in my MoonPay account. The Bitcoin will sit in a digital MoonPay wallet that nobody can access except for me. The US dollars continue to fluctuate in value, so by making this decision, I'm diversifying my portfolio and hopefully earning more from our partnership than I would have otherwise. Remember, while MoonPay makes buying crypto straightforward, it's essential to do your own research and understand the risks involved. Crypto trading can be volatile, and you could lose your investment. MoonPay is a tool to facilitate your transactions, not a source of financial advice. Trade responsibly. I want to tell you about my favorite sweatshirt. It's a hoodie, actually. This is it. It's from this company called American Giant. You've probably heard me talk about them over the years. Yep, this is my favorite hoodie. And it's built to last. You can feel it. You could start a family in this thing. It's made from American-grown cotton. So you got that natural fiber goodness. You could probably roll this thing up and smoke it. I bet if you wanted to, I wouldn't recommend it. American Giant makes their products right here with American hands, American workers, American materials. So get someone you love the absolute best sweatshirt they've ever worn. I wear an XL. This is a little big on me. That's how I like it. I like room in case I want to invite somebody in here with me. That's how I like to do it. But American Giant has the perfect Christmas gift for the guy or girl in your life. And you can get 20% off your first order right now with code Theo when you go to American-Giant.com. American-Giant.com, code Theo. Yep, so just grateful to turn you on to a company that I really enjoy and a company that is distinctively American.
Man, I thought I've never done ketamine, but I do think, okay, so the first purpose is to love the people around you in your immediate orbit, and the second purpose is to tell the truth. So the one sentence description of the whole thing that you just laid out, the way you're feeling, is that we are discovering that we actually don't have control over anything big happening. We have no control.
Right.
And all this shit, all these systems that we've created and cherished and believed in and died for, as you said, were all, in some sense, illusory. They were fake because they gave us the false impression that we have control, whether it's over our government or the future or whatever. We don't have any control. We are on a commercial airliner in a thunderstorm. Okay, that's just what it is. And if you're in 17B, you have no control over whether the plane lands safely or crashes. You just don't. You have no control. we have to metabolize that.
What the
Accept
hell
that.
kind of gun is that?
And once you do, there's total freedom in that. I actually can't protect myself really. As we say in my family, our family motto is, there is no safety, there's only destiny. There is no safety, there's only destiny. And that's like the deepest truth of life. Like, we're not the authors of our lives.
Yeah, Discord,
We
Fat
can't
Boy
really
Strong.
control that much about them, except a couple of things. Do we love the people around us, and do we tell the truth? And if you want to prepare yourself for the turmoil that's only going to accelerate, this is all obvious, all of us can feel. The reason we're all so freaking anxious is we can feel that this is the prelude to real turbulence. Like, every person, dogs can feel a thunderstorm coming 3 hours out. We can feel that.
Oh yeah, you'll see your neighbor just doing circles in their yard.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, we are the German Shepherds starting to freak out in the backyard because the weather's coming in. We can't see it, but they can feel it, and we can all feel that. So how do you protect yourself? Obviously, buy gold, stash ammo. I believe in all that. But really what you need to do is make yourself strong inside by collecting your people close to you, staying in close touch with them, and telling the truth, because telling the truth gives you spiritual power. The more you tell the truth, the more you are filled with supernatural power. You become invulnerable, to the extent a human being can be. I'm telling the truth, and I don't care if you kill me. I really don't care, because what I'm saying is real, and it will outlive me. If you get into that habit, the exercise of just being honest, as much as you can be, of course you're a human being, so you'll lie all the fucking time because you can't help it. But if you keep doing that, you'll be filled with a spiritual power that is stronger than any other power.
Do you believe that our country is compromised?
Do I believe it's compromised? Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Do you believe that it's reversible?
You know, I believe so. I mean, again, I'm so old. I'm 56. So, I just grew up believing in everything, you know?
You're younger than Leanne Morgan. We just had her in here.
Really?
Have you ever listened to her?
No.
Oh
Does
my
she
gosh.
seem old?
No, she's great, dude. Both of you guys look great. That's
Really?
her.
She's older than I am?
Yeah, she told me she was, unless she was lying.
I don't believe her.
There's that new
A
thing.
lot of women do that. They pretend to be a lot older. That's like the true Jedi move for a woman, to be like, actually, I'm 61. Like, a conventional woman will always be like, actually, I'm 29, but the really smart ones will be like, I'm almost 70.
Yes. That's how they do it. I think
That's right.
She's a wonderful, beautiful comedian, and she's hilarious. But anyway, she was just senior, but she's 60 years old. Both
I
y'all
bet
look
she uses nicotine.
great. I bet she does. She did smoke, she said, in college.
Yeah, see, and look what it did for her.
And she wears tight bras because she says it keeps her awake. So I love her. But but yeah, do you think it's and I guess that's a big question. And also going back to what you said a little bit ago, like you said, but then I look at the history of time and it's like people have always been under the thumb of some type of rule, haven't they?
Course.
And so for us to be like, I mean, it's weird. It's like part of you, it's like you're supposed to, don't be a baby about it, you know? Like you're just being like there's some sort of oppression. And even as people that can feed themselves, we're not as oppressed as so many other people.
Yes.
Or people that if they turn on the light, they're afraid it's going to activate a bomb in the corner of their room.
I had dinner with a guy who works for us last night. Literally last night. And I said, where were you born? He goes, I was born in Eritrea, but I grew up in a Sudanese refugee camp. I came to the United States. He's an amazing guy and a wonderful, wonderful guy. But I was like, gosh, you know, I'm from La Jolla.
Right.
It's like, stop whining. This is my internal dialogue. Stop whining. Stop whining. I had to fly Southwest yesterday. Oh, no one suffered more than me.
Yeah, La Jolla. But La Jolla is for sure the lap of luxury of America.
Oh, yeah. And almost every single childhood friend of mine was totally destroyed. Actually.
Really?
Not all, but most. Oh, for sure.
Just by the
drugs.
Wow.
Drugs. And,
good drugs too.
Oh, the best. They did not put baby laxative in our cocaine growing up.
Oh.
No. That was a ghetto thing.
Yeah.
No. We
God.
had it was almost blue.
We had to wear diapers. It had so much baby laxative. It came with diapers. It came with fucking Huggies, bro. That shit. We had some stuff we bought.
Yeah,
off some
no. I
pipes.
grew up in a. But anyway, the point is.
Right. The point is though that there's always been some sort of like. There's always been a rule. There's always been something like that. I think that, but
the older you are, the sadder it is to see your illusion shattered, and the harder it is to pivot. So if you talk to people who are like 23 and you're like, I think the moon landing's fake, they're like, yeah, Gramps, it was always fake. Like, what are you talking
right,
about?
who the fuck thought that was real? Look at the video one time.
Exactly. So that's
that is kind of crazy.
A friend of mine who's unfortunately gone insane, but was a genius, called James Carville. once said to me, he goes,
James Carville from the Democratic Party from Louisiana.
oh, he lives in New Orleans. Oh, yeah. No, I know him well. And he's gone crazy and whatever, but he really was in his prime like a genius and someone I listened to very carefully. He once said to me, I'll never forget, we're in a restaurant in some foreign country. You know, people misunderstand the theory of evolution. And I was like, I can't even do his accent, but he'd be like, survival of the fittest, that's bullshit. That's not what he was saying. And I said, well, what was he saying? It's just,
You do? I'm sorry to hear that.
survival of the most
Right now,
flexible.
I respect it. I'm not
It's adaptability. And he had this whole incredible rap about strength is not actually the quality that helps you persevere in the face of change. It's flexibility, the ability to pivot with changes that you can't control.
It's not the mass, it's the sail.
Exactly. And in fact, strength can be a feature of, or rigidity can be a feature of strength. Like your window pane is strong as hell. It'll last 200 years, but if you tap it, it'll just shatter. You know, you need to be able to move with the moment that you live in. And so I feel like young people are in a pretty good spot. But yes, for older people, it's hard to, it's very upsetting. I'm sure you feel it. You're much younger than I, but you still feel it like, oh my gosh, I thought this was real and it's not. And it's like heartbreaking. It's crushing.
I see it a lot in like just my probably my mother and things like that, see their disappointment kind of, or just uncertainty about what's going on.
And they love the country so much.
Yeah.
It's real. It's sincere love too.
That's the thing. I mean, it's like it's something that's beautiful that you felt like was a certain way, and now maybe some ethnicities and cultures didn't feel like it was that way. And so sometimes I can understand that there's different points of view there, but I still believe that the idea of America and what it's been, and that its goals, and that the humans that want it to be that are, that it's altruistic, you know?
100%.
But that you start to realize, oh, that these powers above us, they have something different going on, and that you would think that they would, I guess they just won't tell us, you know? And so I think that's where some of my fear is. It's just like,
well, evil thrives in darkness, so there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's like, what does it mean to be part of something moving forward? What does that thing even look like? Like, if I'm a citizen here now, what is, in 5 years, what am I a citizen of? Am I a citizen of a country that does genocides? Am I a citizen, you know, who am I? You know, like, I think I was watching some of the Gaza stuff and I kept thinking like, well, surely America will come in at some point and help.
And
right?
stop this.
Right. That was like my thought.
Especially since we're not, when you say genocide, you're not guessing. It's not like some propaganda term. It's the definition. And we know that not just from the video of its victims, but from the testimony of the people perpetrating it. Members of the current government, hot cabinet secretaries in the current Israeli government are on tape, including this week, saying we kill them because of how they were born. They're
Is that true?
Oh my, yeah.
Like, what's an example of that?
Smotrich, Ben Gvir. Oh, many. Look, we need to get them out.
Let me see.
These
that,
are people who
man.
were born there.
I just want to see if that's...
Oh, it's insane.
It is?
Because look, people, you know, you often hear apologists for what's happening there, for the atrocities, say, well, look, it's war, people die. Okay. One of the reasons I'm not that enthusiastic about war, because innocents die. We always have to oppose the murder of innocents, or else we're not civilized. What is civilization? We're on the good side. We're civilized. They're savages. There are a lot of savages in this world. I know some. And what separates the savage from the civilized person is the civilized person will never accept the murder of innocents. You didn't do anything wrong, we can't kill you. It's that simple.
Well, I don't like it if it's unfair.
But that's the definition of unfair. You didn't do anything. A child didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Or an unarmed woman did not deserve to be murdered.
And who is
okay,
this?
So that's Smotrich. That's the finance minister of Israel.
במסגרת המלחמה צה"ל מניע אוכלוסייה מאזורי הלחימה ולא משאיר אבן על אבן. אני אומר לכם, פשוט תסתכלו על הסרטונים.
The truth is, until the last hostage returns, we shouldn't even give water to the Gaza Strip. For a year and a half, we've been beating the hell out of Hamas. We're breaking Gaza apart, leaving it as a pile of rubble, with total unprecedented destruction in the world, and the world still hasn't stopped us. The aim is to achieve the one and only required outcome: the conquest of Gaza, the annihilation of Hamas, and the return of all the hostages. In one word, victory. So that's their view on it right there, you know?
He's saying we're killing people and leveling the country in order to move the population out. So how is that different from saying there's certain people in my capital city I don't want here, I'm going to put them on trains and move them east? There's no difference. People are being killed and expelled from the place where they were born because of their bloodline.
Yeah.
That, in the world that I grew up in, which is the United States of America, the main lesson, the lesson of World War II, the reason we fought against fascism was we reject that.
Yeah, that's the
We
thing.
do not kill people or expel them or put them on trains or put them in internment camps or move them to, quote, third countries, as Smotrich just said,
Because of their
how they were
ethnicity.
born.
Yeah.
Exactly, because of their bloodline. Because we don't accept that because we're Christians. We think that every person was created as an individual and judged as an individual, period.
And this to me
We don't
has-
believe in this shit. That's the enemy of civilization right there. The Israelis, to be clear, are not the only people who think this way. Plenty of people think this way. But we are better than all of them because we don't think this way. And all of a sudden, you've got people in the United States, current United States government, you've got people in our media class, they're all defending this because they agree with it. And then you see people jumping up and being like, Muslims shouldn't have jobs in the United States. And it's like, or in the US government. It's like, how is that better than saying Jews shouldn't have jobs or Christians or Buddhists? It's all the same. That kind of thinking is genocidal. It leads to the genocide we're watching right now in Gaza and to many other genocides. For the fifth time, it's not just Israel, it does this, okay? But this is what we're fighting against. This is why we're better. Why are we better? Because we have more and better shopping? Or because we have, Mount Shasta and Key West? No.
Because we have some moral compass.
Exactly.
And we're able to also take care of ourselves at the same time, I think.
But our moral compass is what? It's based on what's north on our moral compass. We don't kill innocents. And yes, we have, and we regret it, and we grieve over it because it's wrong. That's our moral compass right there. If you didn't do anything wrong, we don't get to kill you or expel you from your home because you're innocent, because we believe in justice, also called fairness. That's the whole fucking point of this country. And so when I see people arguing against that or calling me a Nazi when they're literally wholesale adopting the Nazi mindset, but then I think, you know what? I'm not mad. This is the state of play in life. It's always been this way. And my job is what? To love the people around me and to tell the truth no matter what. And I think that's freeing.
Yeah. Well, I do think once you say, like, yeah, if I get to a point where I can just share what I think or what I feel, whether I'm right or wrong.
Yes.
If I can speak up for my feelings. But then also, if you look at our history, America did that to other people when it started.
Yes.
And you would think that we'd learn that it was wrong, and that's where we are now.
Well, we've acknowledged that it's wrong, I think. I mean, look, you can acknowledge something is wrong without,
I'm not trying to-
self-flagellating to the point where you're incapable of, like, going forward, which is
Right,
kind
that's
of where
the problem.
we are.
It's like you can't do it to the point where you're incapable of going forward. Like, oh, well, we also, this mistake was made not by us. This mistake was made by people in the past or at that time who believed that colonialism was fine and that was people were playing by a different set of rules.
That's the whole point of America, is that we have, like, standards of decency, fairness. I love that you use that word because that is the core of it. It's fairness. Justice is overused, fairness is underused. It's just, a child knows what's fair. If his brother's getting 3 Oreos and he's getting 1, that's just unfair. He doesn't have a degree in economics, he just feels it, he knows it. The sense of fairness is innate. Dogs have it because it's part of the natural fabric, it's organic. And we are a fair country. And the rich man gets the same treatment in the justice system as the poor man. It doesn't matter where you're from, you're both citizens and you're both equal because you're both created by God. That's our whole system in one sentence, and that is being eroded because the people who run our system agree with Smotrich and every other third world dictator. These people are damned by their birth, whatever they are. That's what affirmative action is. It's like, no, I don't like the way your parents looked. You don't get the job. What? That's what we hated about the Nazis, what we hated about segregation, which I want to say was evil. Segregation was evil. Why? Because it punished some people and rewarded others on the basis of things they couldn't control, their skin color.
Yeah, and we'd had mixed babies a lot sooner, too, which are pretty cute, a lot of them, to be
There are all
honest with
kinds
you.
of other effects, but like fairness is what we need to preserve. Why is Epstein infuriating? Because it's unfair. That's why. Not because he molested kids or his buddies molested kids. It's because the president of Harvard was involved in it. Alan Dershowitz, all these famous people. Prince retard, whatever the guy in Great Britain, the kind of retarded-looking prince.
Yeah,
the
that guy is...
Bill Gates. All the most powerful people in the world got away with it. And there's tons of child molestation in America, but there's the expectation that they'll be punished for doing it. These people, we know in our hearts, will never be punished because they're rich.
But we don't know.
That's unfair.
We don't know for sure that they molested children, though.
We don't. We don't know for sure. But we know that there's never been a real inquiry into it because the people around it were powerful and rich. That we can say for sure, and that's still happening.
Okay, well, that I'll say is that, yeah, there's obvious that there's not a, it feels like there's a unfair investigation that's, or a lack of investigation, or it's just this lie that keeps getting remodeled. It's this clay of a lie that keeps getting remodeled and put into the museum in front of us all the time.
But go to all your neighbors on the street and ask them.
Oh, everybody thinks something happened.
No, but ask them, like, if your name popped up as like a visitor to Pedo Island 11 times, do you think you would like be protected in the way that all these other people have been protected? Of course not. You have no money and power. You'd be
Dershowitz had a
beneath
fast pass, I think, if anybody had
that
one.
Guy's unbelievable.
I don't know, but I don't know anything. That's just allegedly. So I have to pee really fast.
Good. I'm gonna go too.
You are?
Can we go together like women?
Nope.
Nope. Good. I like your attitude. Nope.
Anyway, we just took a pee break, guys, so we're back. Why do you think that you made the anti-Semite list?
I think because I'm not an anti-Semite.
Right, and I get what you're saying. It's like if they
No, but I mean, I'm literally not an anti-Semite, and I reject anti-Semitism as totally immoral and anti-Christian. So I'm not only not by temperament an anti-Semite, you know, a million Jewish people I love, I also reject it as a way of thinking.
Yeah.
And so why would they call me that? And it's sincere. Again, for the 5th time. If I was, I would just say so. And I'm not. So why do they call me that? Well, because I think they think I'm effective because I'm not a hater, right? So they have to take out the guy who actually might change people's minds. But I think it's deeper than that. I think there's a spiritual dimension where they want me to become an anti-Semite and a hater, both so they can control and dismiss me. Oh, he's a Nazi, he's David Duke or whatever, he's crazy. But also because some of the people pushing this are evil. And by evil, I mean specifically they are committed to lying and violence. And those are the hallmarks of evil: lying and violence and chaos and division.
So they're not going to play by any other rules.
No. This is not. So we're not where we used to be, or we used to pretend we were.
Where we all thought we were playing by the same rules.
Right, and the rules were: if you have a better argument than I have, then you win.
Yeah.
And may the best argument win. We're so far beyond that, and I think the murder of Charlie Kirk was the moment when we could just admit it to ourselves. This is a guy whose whole life revolved around the proposition: let's debate. And they didn't want to debate. Whoever they is, they murdered him. And to be specific, who killed Charlie Kirk? Well, I don't know, is the short answer. But I when we do find out, if we ever do, doubt we will. But if we do, I think again we'll not be surprised. It's just all tentacles from the same octopus, and the octopus is evil.
Right.
It's not an ethnic group. It's not a country. It's evil. This is what evil is. What is evil? Evil is a commitment to deception and violence. Period. That's what it is. So it's too easy to be like, oh, it's Netanyahu or Smotrich or whatever. No, it's evil. It's existed from the beginning of time. It will exist until the end of time, and it has been the thing against which people have fought through all of history. It's evil. It manifests itself in a million different ways, but its hallmarks are always dishonesty and violence.
Yeah, it feels like we've been a bit afraid to stand up against evil. Does that make sense to you?
Of course it does.
Like John Rich was just talking about it on your podcast the other day, and I thought that was a really neat episode.
Wonderful.
And I learned a lot about John Rich, and just like his clarity of thought, I thought was really neat.
We were on a hunting trip, and pheasant hunting trip 2 weeks ago when we did that. He can shoot too, which is nice.
Can he?
He can. He was bringing them down.
We had a lot of hits, I know.
But that guy, but we shouldn't be afraid of it, and we shouldn't be. So my struggle is against being shocked. Like every time I learn something, I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like this or that institution's corrupt, or this or that person is lying. And it's like, I'm acting like a child. Why would I be shocked? That's what this is. What did you think it was, dude? We live in a fallen world filled with dishonesty and violence. My job, all of our jobs, are to fight against those things.
Yeah, people always want to be in a war. People always like, man, I wish I had something that was like a challenge in the world. It's like we are in a fight of good and evil.
We are.
And it's not to say that any of us are perfect or that we don't all have mistakes or things that we wish we had done or not done. But overall, it does feel like this is like a video game of good versus evil, and you have to start to see that like you're a player in it. One thing
this is why you're so effective. This is why, at some point people may try to make you be quiet, is because you approach all of this with humility, which is one of the hallmarks of good, in my opinion. Like almost every sentence you begin on this topic begins with, "I'm no one to judge, and I'm not," That is the posture. Humility is the posture. And one thing you notice about evil is its certainty, is its judgmental, condemnatory quality. You know, Mark Levin, you're evil, you're a fascist, anti-Semite, Nazi, Islamist, whatever. It's mirror images what you just showed, which is, you know, we're all kind of screwed up, but we're trying to get to the truth. Like, that's the approach. That's the posture. That's the way to tell the truth.
Well, I think that's what most people are doing. That's what most people are trying. You know, I feel like
that's truly honest. Like, I've been wrong about so much. Am I really to stand up and be like, I am positive this is like, no, I'm doing the best I can. That's the only honest way to approach it.
When, especially like as a country, when you're paying into taxes and you're showing up to vote and you're trying to help your neighbor and you're trying to follow the rules and do the best that you can, you at a certain point, that's like you're giving into something as a group. That you're like giving into something like, this is how we believe that we should behave and that it best suits us moving forward. And then when it's really started to just feel, and I think it's kind of obvious at this point, that the higher ups are not working for us anymore. They're not working with us, and that's what I think has become the most evident in the past year, especially, is that people are like, no matter who we elect, on which side, whatever it is, it's all this sort of shell game. And we're finally starting to see some of it. And I thought it was interesting that
Sondora 494
description. Like, not
What's
working
up,
for you, that's just
Sondora?
indifference. That's abandonment. That's when your parents like go on vacation and don't come home. What's happening to us is having like a creepy stepfather. Like, I
For
actually think
sure.
there's malicious intent here.
But how come so many politicians and stuff get compromised? That's what I don't understand. Wouldn't there be more people that stood up and said, hey, this isn't right? Like, I that's what I find hard to believe.
Well, because they all made the deal. And all of them make the deal. And the deal is not always explicit. And the deal, everyone thinks it's about sexual blackmail, which is totally real. All the porn sites are visible. Like, go to a porn site. People know exactly what you're looking at. There's video of you looking at it. It's just a fact. And, okay, so there's that.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are secretly gay. Of course, we know that. But I don't think, and have drinking problems or cheating their wives or whatever.
Is that enough to keep people?
No, I think it's actually deeper than that. It's not enough. It's not enough. Like the obvious ones, like, why is Lindsey Graham for this or that war? It's like, okay, yeah, I got it. But a lot
if you're trying to slurp on little fellas or whatever, or you're jacking off to like, butt activity or whatever, like, does that I mean, definitely
slurping on little fellas.
I mean, pedophiling is bad. It is not good at all. It's horrible, right? But if you're just like looking at I'm just like,
that's not the answer though. That's not most of them are not being sexually blackmailed. Some are. I mean, I think the Epstein thing was probably that to some extent. But no, it's much deeper and more recognizable and part of our daily life than that. It's much more insidious than that because it's less dramatic than that. It's the deal that we all make with ourselves to get what we want. Like, I want to be powerful. I want to get reelected. I want to get rich. I want to bang that girl. And you make these compromises with yourself in which you consciously decide to be dishonest. You decide, in some cases, violent. That is true. Or whatever.
How do they get so many people though? Because like you look at some of these
system itself is that. Like, you get, in order to get elected, I have to do the following things. I have to basically subvert democracy by carrying water for a tiny group of people against the interests of my actual voters. Like, that itself is a sin. It's a crime, but it's so ubiquitous you don't even notice it. It's deals like that. I'm going to take money from a foreign lobby that somehow isn't registered as a foreign lobby or whatever. I'll support this thing that I think is probably pretty wrong, but I'm going to do it because I have to. It's those kind of moral compromises that wind up making people slaves. And that's what they are, they're slaves. We have hundreds of slaves, otherwise known as members of Congress. And what are they slaves to? Evil. Because they've made these compromises in order to get what they think is the prize, which is re-election.
It's a crazy movie.
It's real though, man.
I know, that's a
But it's all of us. Like, all of us have made that deal. That's why it's so important to reframe it in your head. It's not just some freak on Pedo Island, banging a child and then, they have him by the balls because they have videotape of him. No, it's all of us. If I just do this thing, it's worth it, man. It's for the greater good. It's for my family. It's for, you hear this every election season.
Right, I need a vote.
I don't want to vote for the shithead, but we need to control the Congress. What is that? You're making a deal with the devil, dude. With the devil. That's what that is. Bow down before me and all of this will be yours. That's the deal. Don't make that deal because you lose yourself. You lose your freedom. All of a sudden, you're a slave. And you see these politicians, they're like, oh, no, it's not. No, there are good reasons for doing this. No, really. What is that? It's not a free man. That's an enslaved man. And you know the people who are free because they exude this kind of peace and joy. And they're like, no, I don't care. I'll say whatever I think is true. You can shoot me. Go ahead and shoot me. It's not going to change anything because you're lying and I'm not. Like, it's freedom versus slavery. And we put ourselves in slavery with that deal.
Well, the pain of holding on to like lies and stuff like that.
Yes.
And shame and stuff like that. It's really,
but
it's
haven't
so
we all
heavy.
lived that? You've lived that, right?
For sure.
Yes. Well, that's why getting sober is so liberating, not just because you're not on drugs or alcohol, which is itself liberating, but because you admit what you did. And then you're like, oh man, I admitted I was a cokehead, or I drank vodka in the morning. In my case, it's like, it's pretty fucking embarrassing. But
Yeah.
once you admit it, it's like,
I was putting Alps in my butt. Yeah.
no, it's Zyn.
Sorry.
Alp is oral use only.
Alps for the front.
It's the pouch for your mouth.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, Alps for the front. They should say for the front on them. They should have a special.
We may do that. We're going to get that hat because we already have for oral use only, the pouch for the mouth, but this goes in the front.
Yeah.
But you're going to have like some urethral injuries if we're not more specific.
Dude, I used to date a girl and her cooter was like way more in the front than it was like kind of in the lower part.
Actually?
Yeah.
How did that work mechanically?
It worked. You know, it just, I don't know. I don't know all the logistics or whatever.
You sure it wasn't post-op? Was this natural?
No, this was natural, dude. And I worked in urban
When?
planning, so I know how, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know how things work a little bit. But yeah, she had her cooter.
You understand bridges and tunnels, is what you're saying.
I'm just saying,
got
yeah.
it, yeah.
Just her cooter was up front, kind of. But anyway, I don't know where we're talking about that. Do you think...
Looking for tool storage that's both affordable and built to last? Choose the trusted durability of U.S. General from Harbor Freight. With a full selection of colors, customization options, parts, trays, and more. U.S. General, only at Harbor Freight.
When I cycle, I like to find my rhythm by turning off my inner critic and just get lost in this creative infinite space. I am Antoni Sendra. I'm always experimenting.
We've all had money goals. You know, I remember I wanted to buy me a shirt that had sequins on the back for a school dance. I wanted it. It had angel's wings sequins on the back, and I wanted it. And it was $48, and I saved up to get it. But financial goals aren't achievable instantaneously. You got to plan ahead. That's where Acorns comes in. Acorns is a smart way to give your money a chance to grow. Acorns is easy. You can sign up in minutes and start automatically investing your spare money, even if all you've got is spare change. Sign up now and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $27 billion with Acorns. Plus, Acorns will boost your new account with a $20 bonus investment. Offer available at acorns.com/Theo. That's acorns.com/THEO to get your $20 bonus investment today. Terms and conditions apply. See acorns.com/terms for details. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 2 compensation provided. Potential subject to various factors such as consumers' accounts, age, and investment settings. Does not include Acorns fees. Results does not predict or represent the performance of any Acorns portfolio. Investment results will vary. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Theo. Baby boys, you already know what time it is. It's time to level up. And Blue Chew just dropped something crazy. I'm talking about Next Level Championship Belt Gold-Plated Energy. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation from the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill. This is the 4-in-1 beast that's setting the gold standard for performance. Wienering. Blue Chew Gold dissolves under your tongue and works in as little as 15 minutes. Dang, boy, you gonna be bumping. That means you can get it on quicker and stay in the game longer. Elevation without hesitation. This is peak passion and peak performance in a single tablet. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with code Theo. That's promo code THEO. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Imagine you show up to a blood drive, and the person running the blood drive is a vampire. Well, that's interesting because this dude cracks into your neck to catch a little sip, and your donation's gone. There's a reason why you wouldn't talk to a vampire at a blood drive. Just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting for the people for over 35 years. With over $25 billion recovered for their clients, Morgan & Morgan knows a thing or two about fighting to get you the compensation you deserve. Not all law firms are the same. Hire the wrong one and you may be beat before you even start. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. And their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Theo. That's FOR, thepeople.com/THEO. This is a paid advertisement. Like, do you think that if we elected different officials, that things would be different? Or do you think that no matter who gets in there, that the compromising happens these days?
No, I think leadership is the most important thing.
Why doesn't somebody come up with an app then that tells us like what elected, like who's running, right? Because a lot of people don't have time to focus on exactly who's running, right? They don't have as much time. They're busy. Both parents are working. People are running around. They're picking their kids up. They got to get their kid to T-ball. They've got to make sure their kids get fed.
Totally.
And they have to make sure that one of the parents is there to read them a bedtime story before the other parent goes and works all night as a security guard somewhere, just to make ends meet, right? So why don't they have like an app that says, okay, these are the candidates. This one doesn't accept any money from any of these places.
Yes.
It feels like it would be very easy and obvious to create an app like that that would tell you exactly who to vote for.
I think that's right. The problem is we're getting to a point of like knowledge about things. Like people sort of are figuring out what's going on, that in order to be honest now, you have to be truly honest. I think people are so wary of being lied to that if you sense that someone's like got a, I'll be all honest about this stuff, but not about that thing, that's not enough. So true honesty, also called integrity, is what is needed.
It's hard.
Well, you get killed. You get killed. Like the system itself, and this is not the result of any foreign power or any, this is just like the nature of systems, will work to expel you the same way your body works to expel bacteria or cancer. It's like,
good God.
The organism doesn't want this. And you see it. I've known very few honest members of Congress. I've known a couple, however. One of them just left Congress, and the other is being primaried.
MTG, you're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Exactly, and Thomas Massey from Kentucky. And by the way, I don't agree with everything. It's not even about that.
What does being primaried mean? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
It means that your own party says, we want you out, and so we're going to run someone from your party against you in the primary. Your party's turned on you. And it's like, what is that about? And it's about not simply the fact that he disagrees with them on foreign policy, which is really... the whole project really is just foreign policy, nothing to do with like your tax rates or your
Dinner with Jesus or 500K?
Dinner with Jesus.
Yeah, and he's
Why?
not for pointless wars. So that's a deal killer. But it's not just that. It's the So yeah, the Israeli lobby's mad at him. Got it. But it's deeper. It's he won't be controlled. And if he doesn't think something, he's not going to say it. Period. He may be wrong, but he's sincere. Sincerity is the kryptonite. That's what makes the evil person die, is sincerity. No, I really mean it. I'm not kidding. I can't be bought. I'm totally sincere. If they smell sincerity on you, well, that's why they're calling me the most dangerous anti-Semite since Adolf Hitler himself. It's like, what? Because I'm not a genius. I'm not powerful at all. I'm a fucking podcaster. Like, I don't have actually any power, but I'm not kidding at all. I'm completely sincere. I may be wrong. I often have been, but I'm not joking.
Yeah.
That itself, so they're hassling me. Imagine if I was a member of Congress or a presidential candidate or anybody who has sincerity. is marked immediately because that person's a threat to everybody currently benefiting from the system. And you saw that with Marjorie.
Yeah, what do you think happened there? Because a lot of people say that allegedly she made a lot of money off of stock returns and stuff like that.
That just cracks me up. That's like saying, have you been, I was just talking to Tim Dillon the other day, who's a friend of mine, awesome guy, but
he's the best.
He is the best. But everyone, they're all claiming he's taking money from Qatar.
Yeah, me too. They say that.
Oh, they say that about you?
Yeah. I went there once. I had a blast, dude.
I'm going tomorrow.
Are you?
I'm buying a house in Qatar. Why am I doing that? Because fuck you. Not only have I never taken a dollar from Qatar or anybody, I have no investors, zero. I have no debt. I don't owe anybody anything, period, and never will. I've never taken money for them. I'm gonna invest money in Qatar. I'm gonna do just the opposite, just to give the finger. Plus, it's a great country.
Dude, I had a great time when I was there. They treated us super nice. I know that they have different rules and stuff for their people, and that we may disagree with some of them and stuff like that. It's like, but those aren't my rules. I don't have to, like if I go visit, I have to live by their rules. But if I'm from our country, then I can live by our rules.
I completely agree. But they accuse you of what they are, and what they are is corrupt. So Marjorie, did she make a ton of money trading on stocks with insider information? I bet my house she didn't. I mean, this is somebody I know well, and
you do know her well.
I know her well, and you can agree or disagree with her, of course, but you can't say she's in it for the money. Really? I don't think so. I don't think she's interested in money. I think she's interested in the country. And again, we can debate whether she's on the right track or the wrong track, or you think her ideas are smart or stupid, but her sincerity is the most obvious thing about her, and it's also the most threatening thing about her. In fact, it's the only thing that they hate is sincerity, because sincerity is purity and it can't be bought. And so, of course, they accuse. The first thing they're like, "Oh, you must be getting paid by somebody." No, I'm not, and that's why you hate me.
Yeah.
If I was as corrupt as Dan Crenshaw, you really think they would hassle me?
Dan Crenshaw, the guy from Texas?
Yeah.
Is he corrupt?
Well, on a moral level, he's completely corrupt. I mean, he takes orders from his donors to do things that have nothing to do with the welfare of his voters. So by definition, he's corrupt, yes, and also crazy and drunk and all the rest. Sad. I'm not actually.
Oh, I think I met him at a nightclub one time.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you did. But I shouldn't be. I feel sorry for Dan Crenshaw, being serious. But